If your house seems to get messy, no matter how many times you organize it, you are not alone. For a long time, I thought the problem was discipline. The real problem is most organizing advice doesn't work well for ADHD brains. And so over time, I started following some simple rules that makes my home much easier to manage. And these are 10 ADHD home rules I follow so my house doesn't fall apart. And the first ADHD home rule is every room needs a drop zone. ADHD brains, we create piles just naturally around our home, and then we just end up with a lot of piles around our home. So what we want to do is you want to have a place to put those piles and contain the things that are just spread out into piles. And so what you do is you set something there to make sure you have a place to put things inside. A tray, a bin, a basket, whatever you want to use, so that when you come into the room, you don't make it a pile in your room somewhere. You take it right to that design drop zone so everything stays contained. And don't be afraid, if you have a lot of stuff that you always pile up, then put a second container if you need one. And rule number 2 for an ADHD home is every surface must have a job. A lot of times empty spaces in homes just become clutter magnets where everything just ends up there. So instead, every major surface in a home needs to have a defined purpose. For example, in my home, I have a coffee station. That place is designated to make coffee. Everything is there. My Keurig, my stir sticks, the filters for my Keurig, all my coffee cups, maybe even coffee tumblers are there. And all my actual K-cups are also there. So I don't have to actually go anywhere to get anything to make coffee except the creamer if I want to put creamer in my coffee. And here's the reason to do this. Because that place has a defined purpose, then you're not going to put anything in that place that doesn't actually fit that purpose. So that makes it so you don't clutter up that space with just other things. And here's the other great thing. It's much easier to find something when each surface actually has a purpose. And quick question, have you ever cleaned off a surface and then in a couple of days it's all cluttered again? Well, that means that surface probably doesn't have a job yet. And rule number 3 for an ADHD home is if something moves rooms, duplicate it. Phone chargers can end up all across your home. So have multiple phone chargers in your home, maybe even in every room. Headsets for your cell phone can end up all over the place, can end up lost, and then you're trying to look for it and it just takes time to try to find it, and then you might not even find it. So have duplicate headsets in your home. Pairs of scissors. You may need a pair of scissors in another room in your office and then in the kitchen. So you actually want to have a couple different pairs of scissors in your home wherever you need them. And the reason you want to do this is because instead of chasing all those items around your home, just duplicate them in your home. And rule number 4 for an ADHD home is store things where the problem happens. A lot of organizing advice will tell you store things by category, but with ADHD, a lot of times it's better to store things where the problem actually happens. For example, having a lint roller by the door to get that lint off as you're trying to get out the door is really good. Maybe eat on the couch a lot, so you want to have a trash can next to the couch to make it really easy to throw your trash away. And here's the reason you want to do something like this. It makes solving the problem at the time take little to no effort. And if you are enjoying the content and getting value out of the content, then subscribe to the channel and like the video. And rule number 5 for ADHD home is paper needs to have one decision place. Paper in an ADHD home can create just a lot of stress and frustration because it does end up in multiple places around your home. So instead, you want to have one designated spot for all those things. Bills, papers that you might have that you don't need anymore, receipts that you have that you have to kind of organize or whatever because they're just a mess right now. And so what you want to do is actually put a tray, a box, a container there and take all your paper and put it into that thing. And then what you're going to do is come back and organize all that stuff later. You're going to make a decision about what you want to keep and what you actually want to throw away. And here's the reason for doing this. The goal is not to get rid of all your paper immediately. The goal is to actually prevent all that paper from ending up all over your home. And I've been through the situation where paper just slowly spread across my home, a bill here, a receipt there, a little note there, maybe a sticky note, and then just paper was everywhere. When it's in one place, it makes it a lot easier to manage. And rule number 6 for ADHD homes is laundry should be easy. Laundry becomes too overwhelming when there's just a lot of steps to actually do a laundry. I mean, with laundry, if you're sorting, you're folding, trying to put things away perfectly in your home, that can be frustrating when you have ADHD. And so ADHD homes actually benefit from making laundry as easy as possible. For example, using multiple laundry baskets for dirty and clean, and maybe you can wear them again kind of clothes. Or just not folding at all, just having bins and throwing things into bins like socks and underwear, things that are not wrinkled easily, you can put in a bin. And another thing that you can do is minimize the amount of clothing you have and just have a few different outfits. And that way you're gonna have less stuff in your closet, less laundry to do. And the point is making laundry as easy as possible to do. And when you have less to actually wash, it gets done quicker and faster. And rule number 7 for ADHD home is I stopped trying to remember where things go. For a long time, I was just into, I have to remember better. I have to do better with remembering. Remember where things go. Remember where I put something down. And a lot of times with ADHD brains, working memory, using your memory to actually bring up where all these things go, where they might be, is not a lot of fun a lot of times. It doesn't work a lot of times. And so instead of doing that, I use visual systems now. I use labels, so it makes it really easy. I don't have to actually think about where something is. Maybe even using clear containers so it's easy to look inside the container. Using baskets, using open shelving, anything I can use to make something really easy to see so that when I'm around my home, I don't even have to try to think about where something is. And here's a great thing about this. Now my house actually reminds me where things go instead of me trying to remember. And rule number 8 for ADHD homes is temporary storage as part of the system. You need to have intentional temporary storage. For example, don't organize only move boxes or doom boxes are one good thing to have in your home, because there's going to be times that you just don't have time to organize something, but you don't want to leave all this clutter in the place that it is. And so what you want to do is take that stuff, put it in a box and move it to another spot in your home. And then you come back and organize it later. That's important to do, because if you don't, you're going to end up with a doom box, maybe 3 doom boxes of 4, maybe a doom room. And that can be a real issue as well too. So it is just intentional temporary storage to where you're actually gonna go back and organize whatever is in that box later. And rule number 9 for ADHD homes is your system must survive bad days. If your system of doing things only works when you're completely motivated and you're in it, then that's not going to help you when you actually have a bad day, you're overwhelmed, you're tired, and you don't feel like doing anything. And here's the one question I ask. Will I still do this if I'm exhausted and tired and overwhelmed? And if I won't still do it in those cases, then I have to simplify it down. So I will actually do it even if I'm actually really tired and exhausted. And so when you have an ADHD home, you have to actually organize your home for your lowest of low energy days, because there's going to be those days that actually come, and then you're gonna have to still want to actually organize, and we have things that help you with that. And so the reason you do this is because you have to have systems that you'll still use on your low energy days. And this is why you want to actually simplify it down to things that you will do on those days. And here's something I eventually realized with ADHD homes. The goal is not to organize your home perfectly. The goal is to make your home easy to maintain. And this actually leads to the next rule. And rule number 10 for ADHD homes is reduce the amount of times you need to reset. Instead of trying to clean more, reduce the reason that messes happen in the first place. Less decor, less dishes, less clothes. Less stuff means fewer decisions, less cleaning, fewer times you have to reset. For example, I have 3 different types of bowls. I have sets of these bowls, 4 each. That's all I have. That's all I use. It makes it really easy to make sure my home stays clean and organized. And so what this means is sometimes the easiest organizing strategy is just to own less stuff. My home doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to work for my brain. And when the systems match how your brain works, it makes your home much easier to manage. You're not messy. You're just learning what systems work best for you. And if you're wondering where to start with ADHD organization, I actually have a playlist of different videos that will help you get started with ADHD organization and give you different hacks and tips as well. I'm going to put that playlist up Just click it and then find the video that works for you.